put your hands together for Geina Horton.
Good. Hi, you guys. Welcome out. And thanks for coming out for the snow. How many of you knew what you wanted to be when you were a little kid, when you were growing up? Me too. I wanted to be a doctor. But I had to grow up first before I could do anything. And my dad, he wanted me to be a doctor. So when I was in the 4th grade, he gave me a Tabor's Medical Dictionary. My grandparents, who liked hearing me sing, they gave me a guitar. By the time I was in the 8th grade, I spent most of my time in my bedroom not doing science homework. I was listening to my records and I was thinking about my science teacher. His name was Mr. Jones, and he was so hot. And by the time the yearbook came out, I had all kinds of ideas. And I asked Mr. Jones if he would write in my yearbook. But he didn't tell me that he loved me too and that he thought I was hot. He told me I was a silly girl that needed to pay more attention in class and that I needed to write, "I will not talk" on the blackboard another 100 times. So I did that. By the time I was in high school, I dropped physics for choir, I dropped math for drama, and I wasn't very good at any of that. I knew I had a gift for gab, and that if I could get a job on the radio, I could rule the world. And I did it. In the late 1900s, I had Farrah Fawcett hair. I played 45s, and I met the love of my life. And his name was rock and roll. I had the best job on the planet. I got offered payola. I had groupies. Yes, that is Motley Crue. And I had this opportunity to become the first female ring announcer for the WWF. I actually stood in the ring and said things like, "Weighing in at 800 pounds in quarter number 1, Andre the Giant." Yeah. Hulk Hogan was there, Mr. T, Hillbilly Bob was my mom's favorite. I had a ringside seat. In the mid-'80s, I took a job as a record rep for Chrysalis Records, where I babysat rock stars and made a lot of friends. These were not my friends. These were my coworkers. And working with them was like herding stoned kittens. They were crazy. It burned me out. I was on tour with them, I set up interviews, and by the time I was 34 years old, I had been in the music industry 16 years. And I was burned out. So I looked to my inner child to try to help reinvent myself, and she came a-calling with Chinese medicine as a muse. So I left my 6-figure job, my $40,000 expense account, the rock and roll lifestyle of limousine and champagne, and I sat in a classroom and was forced to learn to read Chinese and memorize all kinds of acupuncture points. It was the most difficult thing I had ever done, and I had to sit still. But I knew that if I stayed in the ring, that I would be able to do it. These guys at the WWF, they didn't fake it. Those body slams are real, the blood is real, and it's really, really painful, and school was painful. But fast forward 3 years later, I was listening to a couple of my teachers, and they were talking about something in Chinese, and I realized I could actually understand what they were saying. I had done it. I could understand Chinese. So I graduated, hung my shingle out, prayed to the universe for my patients to come, and it was really slow. It was so slow, as a matter of fact, that my parents became very concerned about my financial well-being. And my mother pulled me aside one day and said, in her southern accent, "Are you sure this is gonna work?" And I said, "Mom, my inner child is holding the map." She said, "Don't get off on that exit. Failure is not an option." And I knew if I stayed in the ring, and I knew that this would never happen to me, waiting for my patients, and it didn't. But I sweated out. I sweated blood. I body slammed myself a little bit too. But eventually the patients, they did come. And they're the rock stars now that I get to work with every day. And trying to tell them and teach them how to take care of themselves, it's a lot like herding rock stars and kittens again. But they're the rock stars, and the doctors and the scientists that I now work with at the University of Colorado School of Medicine, they're the rock stars. I get to teach Western medical students about traditional Chinese medicine. So I'm the teacher now that gets to write in the yearbook. And when they ask me to do that, I tell them, always follow your dream. Listen to your inner child. Never, ever body slam the patient. And if you think you're faking it, you've made it. Thank you.